One of the most storied UFC rivalries reached its conclusion on Saturday night when Ben Askren and Jorge Masvidal put their bitter past behind them. Their feud began before their explosive clash at UFC 23-9 in July 2019, where Gamebred delivered a lightning-fast flying knee knockout just 5 seconds into the fight, creating what remains the quickest finish in UFC history. 7 years have passed since that moment, and now Askren has opened his doors to welcome his former adversary for a peaceful dinner. The Wisconsin native shared a heartfelt post explaining his change of heart, writing that life's brevity taught him the futility of carrying grudges. When Masvidal expressed interest in reconciling, Askren immediately agreed to meet. The former rivals discovered they shared more similarities than differences during their conversation, leading to genuine friendship. Askren emphasized how meaningful it felt to finally put their conflict to rest and gain a new friend in the process. Former Bellator bantamweight champion Patchy faced a devastating setback at Rizin 52 in Tokyo, suffering a brutal second-round stoppage against rising Japanese fighter Kayoma Akimoto. The Japanese prospect overwhelmed Mix with a relentless barrage of punches before delivering the finishing sequence with ground strikes and soccer kicks, ending the contest just 37 seconds into the second frame and dealing Mix another crushing defeat in what was meant to be his fresh beginning at featherweight.
When I talked through Tom Aspinall's purses, I nearly fell off the f***ing chair. Do you know what I mean? Because I know that if that was our business, he'd be making 10 times as much money. His return is going to be massive when it comes. And as an organisation, they need him. Forget he needs the UFC. He actually don't need the UFC now. But they need him because they need heavyweight stars on stars full stop. And he's a young man that goes in there and entertains.
Mix finds himself at a troubling crossroads in his fighting career, having fallen dramatically from his previous status as one of the premier bantamweights outside the UFC and Bellator's final champion in the division. His departure from Bellator marked the beginning of a steep decline, going winless through 2 UFC appearances before the promotion released him earlier this year. The Rizin opportunity was supposed to serve as his career reset, but instead the loss extends his current skid and raises serious concerns about his position in the global mixed martial arts hierarchy. Eddie Hearn expressed complete shock after discovering the substantial earnings Tom Aspinall receives from his UFC competition. During a recent YouTube vlog on Aspinall's channel, the heavyweight champion revealed details of his conversation with the renowned boxing promoter. Hearn admitted that learning about Aspinall's UFC compensation nearly caused him to fall from his seat, though he noted that the fighter could potentially earn 10 times more competing in professional boxing instead. Cody Garbrandt secured victory in the most bizarre fashion possible, winning a decision that seemed destined to go against him. Garbrandt appeared headed for a clear loss until his opponent Long committed multiple illegal low blows, resulting in 2 separate point deductions that completely altered the scorecards. All 3 judges ultimately scored the contest 28-27 in Garbrandt's favor following the penalties. The path to victory proved incredibly difficult, as one particularly vicious low blow struck Garbrandt so hard that he began vomiting into a bucket before the fight could continue. Yet he managed to persevere through the adversity.
It's now official. You're headlining with Ilia Topuria for Undisputed. Congratulations. That is huge. You didn't reveal the news when you came and sat with us earlier. We won't take offense, but...
No, I didn't know. I wasn't sure.
No,
you didn't know. I was not sure.
Hold on, you're saying that when they made the announcement, that was a surprise to you.
That was 100% confirmation that I was the main event. I didn't know that. I didn't know who the co-main event, or if I was the co-main event, or who the other fight was at the time.
I should have known something was up when they came in my ear. They said, ask Justin 2 questions. Don't talk about what's next for him. Don't talk about the next fight. Don't talk about the White House. I should have saw it coming.
UFC CEO Dana White officially announced the complete lineup for UFC 320 during Saturday's broadcast, headlined by the highly anticipated clash between Alex Pereira and Justin Gaethje. The upcoming event features Pereira's official transition to heavyweight as he challenges Cyril Gane for an interim championship, while current title holder Tom Aspinall continues recovering from his recent double eye surgery. The bantamweight division will showcase former champion Sean O'Malley taking on Aman Zahabi in what promises to be an exciting matchup. Additional confirmed bouts include a lightweight showdown between Mauricio Ruffi and Michael Chandler, a middleweight contest pitting Brendan Allen against Kyle Daukaus, and a featherweight battle between Diego Lopez and Steve Garcia. Fighter reactions poured in immediately following the announcements, with Geisty sitting at the broadcast desk and feigning surprise when White revealed the news of his main event opportunity.
The White House.
I'm fighting GSP at the White House. I just kidding, I tricked you guys. I'm fighting aim is a hobby. I told UFC, I would love to fight at the White House. I will fight anybody at the White House. I will fight Ilya. I will fight Islam. I will fight Habib. No, but for real, I said I want to fight on the White House card. Please let me fight on the White House card. I don't care who it is. I want to be on there. I want the opportunity to, I fought at the Sphere, which is really cool. The White House, I think there's 6 fights on the White House card. There's me plus 11 other people that get to make the walk from the Oval Office. That's what they're saying. You walk from the Oval Office into the White House lawn. Crazy how secret this card has been. I knew about this literally only like a week ago. I don't know who the main event is. The fight's going to be outside. Our family's going to be able to come. Like they're saying how many millions of dollars they're spending on security alone. We're going to go out there and beat the fuck out of this guy. I go out there and win this fight. I'm next in line for a title. I actually wanted to fight. I really was like, yo, let me fight Peter at the White House. They didn't say that. They said, nah, man. I was like, all right, bad.
O'Malley later disclosed that he earned his spot on the prestigious card through persistent lobbying, repeatedly requesting the UFC grant him a fight opportunity.
Oh, so I feel amazing. This is a great opportunity for me. I worked so hard for staying the big cards in UFC. Now UFC sending me the chance to fight the White House. And yeah, this is a great opportunity for my career, for the future. I tell for my family, my brothers, my friends, like yeah, when I stay in UFC, I fight in the great cards.
Diego Lopez took to social media to share his excitement and appreciation for being selected to compete on such a significant event card.
Ilya versus Gage is a good fight, but no chance to Gage. Ilya has a better boxing, and I think he's gonna knock him out. They just waste time, waste my time. They gotta put me versus Ilya, and I'll take his belt, and easy money for me.
The announced matchups failed to impress everyone, particularly Arman Tsarukyan, who voiced harsh criticism of the main event booking, dismissing the Pereira versus Gathaja pairing as a complete waste of everyone's time.
A luta contra o Conor, eu já falei que eu fazeria essa luta, podia ser de 70, 83, não importa, porque conseguiria dar muito dinheiro, ou pode fazer um GP, coloca os dois no mesmo dia e vamos ver o que dá.
I said, listen, I want the title. I want that lightweight belt. I've said this all along. Let's wait for the fight at White House, and that's what I want to do. But you want to put him 170? You want to put him up there? I don't care. If you want to put him a middleweight, we do it. It doesn't matter. I'll tell you what. If you want it, make it a Grand Prix. Just put up 2 fights same day, see what happens.
Numerous fight enthusiasts voiced their displeasure with several matchups on the card while lamenting the notable absence of major attractions like Conor McGregor and Jon Jones. One disappointed fan expressed frustration with what they perceived as underwhelming selections despite the initial hype, particularly questioning how certain fighters managed to secure spots on such important events. Another critic was even more blunt in their assessment, calling the entire card terrible and questioning why fighters they viewed as undeserving received title opportunities, while others simply felt Dana White had overpromised and underdelivered once again. The long-awaited rematch between Charles Oliveira and Max Holloway failed to meet expectations when they finally squared off more than a decade after their initial encounter. Oliveira dominated the BMF Championship main event at UFC 320 with a masterful grappling performance, controlling Holloway on the scorecards through superior groundwork. Fans hoping for an instant classic were left disappointed, as Holloway had no effective responses to Oliveira's legendary Brazilian jiu-jitsu skills, with most of the fight taking place on the canvas where Oliveira punished Max repeatedly. The lackluster performance drew immediate criticism from high-profile figures including Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor, with McGregor posting a series of harsh comments calling the fight shockingly bad and criticizing both fighters' approaches while declaring them unworthy of his former belt. Other fighters joined the pile-on, with various competitors questioning whether this type of performance truly represented what the BMF Championship should embody. During the post-fight press conference, Oliveira fired back at his critics by boldly stating he would gladly fight both McGregor and Diaz on the same evening.
Anybody was expecting that. The way he body locked him and took him down so easily and absolutely dominated him on the ground. I thought there'd be a lot more stand-up, and I thought that Max would do a better job at defending the takedown. And if he got on the ground, he'd at least pop up a couple, 3 times during the round, but total domination. Yeah. Well, I think you'll have those type of guys, but, the goal at the end of the day in every fight is to win. So he did exactly what he needed to do to win. And I think probably, you'll have to ask Max, but in training camp, they're probably expecting, if you've seen Charles fight, he's not afraid to go toe-to-toe, stand up, and, they obviously really believed that if they took him down to the ground, tonight would happen.
Yeah. Dana White held court at the post-fight press conference, covering multiple significant topics, starting with his reaction to the main event performance. White expressed genuine surprise at how easily Max Holloway was taken down throughout the fight, admitting he hadn't expected such a one-sided grappling display.
Ever, which I told you guys 100,000 times, was John Jones even remotely in my mind to fight at the White House. I've told you why I wouldn't do it. Some guy with, meta glasses on filmed him talking about his hips, that his hips are so bad. And I don't know if you guys saw that flag football game where he can barely run. He's got arthritis in his hips. Doctors say he should have hip replacement. Add that on top of all the other reasons that I wouldn't. The John Jones thing is bullshit. I'm not saying they weren't talking to John Jones and that John Jones wasn't interested in the fight. And what was even crazier is John Jones came out and was like, I'm in negotiations right now for the White House fight, after I had already sent a text to his lawyer saying, never going to happen ever.
Is it fair to say that John Jones is retired and this is the end of his time?
Yes, very fair.
The discussion moved to John Jones and his absence from the upcoming UFC White House card, with White revealing that Jones was never seriously considered for the event and suggesting the former champion has essentially entered retirement. White made it clear he doesn't anticipate Jones competing in the UFC again anytime soon.
Conor McGregor obviously tweeting a lot today. Wasn't very impressed with the fight. Says, if they want, I'll spank Charlie, obviously about Charles Oliveira. Is there any update on Conor McGregor?
No, but we are definitely talking to Conor, obviously.
But there's no timetable. You just
not even close. We have no date for Conor right now. Not even close. So
Jones quickly responded on social media with obvious frustration, questioning whether all their previous negotiations had been meaningless and asking for clarification on his status with the promotion. White also provided an update on Conor McGregor's potential comeback, stating the UFC isn't even close to finalizing his next opponent or fight date.
I'm not thrilled with Arman right now. And there's a lot of different reasons. It's not just the stuff that you see publicly. But yeah.
Care to elaborate on any of those reasons?
No.
Obviously, Charles just won the BMF title. Justin and Ilya are fighting at the White House. There's that one guy in the division, Arman Tsarukyan. He had an interesting weekend in Tempe last weekend. What did you make of that when you saw those antics, and where does he stand in the division?
Yeah, I don't love it. I don't love it. But, that night, that was somebody else's problem, not mine. But, yeah, that's really all I got to say about that. But, the division's heating up and lots of fun fights to make, and we'll get Arman figured out.
I know you spoke about Arman just now, but he was in talks with Hunter Campbell about potential fights with Gaethje, Volk, and the winner of this fight, which ended up being Oliveira. I wanted to know what you think makes the most sense for him.
What's the question again?
For Arman, I know.
White additionally revealed his continued displeasure with Arman Tsarukyan following the controversial brawl with Giorgi Gocholishvili at Real American Freestyle Wrestling 06 event.
Got it. I don't know.
White briefly mentioned speaking with Hunter Campbell about various ongoing situations within the promotion.
Over money.
I'll tell you this. They did seriously try to have John Jones on this card, and they couldn't get to the number. Now, a lot of people are talking about this fight that fell through. I don't think that that's the fight that fell through last night. That's not what I was told.
Ariel Helwani offered additional context regarding the Jones situation, reporting that negotiations between the former champion and the UFC for the White House card ultimately collapsed without reaching an agreement. The internet's most popular memes have been compiled, with the third-place selection coming from the social media account Undisputed Take. The second-place meme originated from the account Far Cry X1Z, capturing significant online attention and engagement. The top meme was created and shared by Lucky Lack, earning the most widespread circulation and reaction across various social media platforms.